Hello, and welcome to the inaugural show of Off the Ropes with John and Josh. I am Josh.
And I'm John.
And we first like to give a special shout out to our number one broski, Zack Ryder. If it wasn't for him, we would not have had the inspiration to make this show.
Very true.
We'd also like to say thank you to the Big O, and also the hashtag heel, the show off, Dolph Ziggler.
You know, it's really funny that you mentioned Dolph Ziggler. If we zigzag into our first topic, I'd like to talk about Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
How about the fact that Dolph Ziggler puts himself over, yet WWE is holding him back? I mean, look at Dolph Ziggler. The man can bump, the man can work, the man can talk. WWE, why give him Money in the Bank if you're not going to give him something to go for?
I absolutely agree. If you ever watch the Zack Ryder show with his Ask the Heel segment, or even WWE Download, his very own show, this guy is amazing on the mic. Yet they do not allow him to show that side of him on television.
That's very true. You get to see a lot of great stuff from Dolph Ziggler, especially with his current feud with Randy Orton and his past feud with Chris Jericho. You got to see a new side of Dolph Ziggler that nobody'd really seen before. It's phenomenal. The man can really work. The man can really bump, as we've seen from him taking multiple headbutts from Brodus Clay. So it's phenomenal. So my question to WWE, is he going to be the next person to never be able to hold a championship because you gave him Money in the Bank? Or can we count on Dolph Ziggler being the next World Heavyweight Champion?
Oh, I'm excited to find out, I have to say.
Me too.
I think Dolph Ziggler, as heavyweight champion, would put this company in places that it's never been before.
Talking about places that companies have never been before, let's talk about WCW for a second.
All right.
Back in like the late 90s, WCW went on air and broadcast that Mick Foley was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship, excuse me, and therefore caused WCW to go down in ratings, and some would say never come back to win the Monday Night Wars. Do you think that had WCW never done this, that WCW might have won?
I think it's possible. I mean, there are obviously a lot of factors that we'll never know. But I think that if they hadn't gotten full of themselves, they might have had a good running shot.
Well, here's a good question. Had WCW won the Monday Night Wars, what would be different with wrestling today, do you think?
I think a lot of things would be different. You know, I think it would be a different pace. I definitely don't think that there would be this whole PG thing in wrestling today. At least, you know, in mainstream wrestling such as WWE, they would not be doing PG. It would be the way it has been, and if it had actually lasted, I think it could have been good.
Speaking of the PG rating, are you a fan of the PG rating in wrestling?
Absolutely not. I think it holds back. I mean, it's nice that they have, you know, a way to draw in the kids, you know, so that they have future fans, but I think that it pushes away some of us older fans, you know?
That's very true. I completely agree. Wholeheartedly. I think it's a lot of crap sometimes to see wrestlers be held back. Because I can remember when Stone Cold come out, and Stone Cold would be like, give me a Hell's Yeah and drink some beer. What's he going to drink now? Glass of milk? Thank you, WWE, for ruining once great talent.
Speaking of WCW, I'd like to segue into one of our very first segments.
Which segment would that be, Josh?
This is going to be 3 questions.
Really?
Yes. Now, we have a lot of time to talk to independent superstars, and once in a great while, we get some not-so-independent superstars, like you'll see in a couple of weeks. But our first 3-question segment is with a couple of boys who we've known personally, and they've been working the independent scene for a while. They are
the Bonecrushers. Mandingo and Sway. They're phenomenal. Better known to many of the people in Chautauqua County as the Hometown Boys. If it wasn't for them, Josh and I wouldn't be in the predicament we are these days. See, a lot of things that people don't know, Josh and I are training independent wrestlers. You know, the boys have given us an open door and allowed us to meet and, well, just get into the business. They're really nice guys, and as you'll see in our first segment of three questions with the Bonecrushers, break it down simply. This is 3 questions with, and today I am with the Bonecrushers.
Today we have Mandingo and Sway. Boys, thank you for joining me on such short notice.
No problem.
First question we have for you guys. If you could wrestle anyone in the business today, living or dead, who would it be?
Tough one. I personally, when my two favorites passed, Biggie the Dragon Steamboat.
Not pass.
Passed. As in past wrestler. My time, not your time. And then Dolph Ziggler. He takes the thickest bumps I've ever seen. And he stopped putting people over, aka Randy Orton. I think Dolph Ziggler should be champion. And who don't like Biggie the Dragon Steamboat? Without the lizard.
I would say the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. They revolutionized tag team wrestling for big guys. You know what I'm saying? All over the world. That and I would say that too. The Powers of Pain. I mean, the same category.
Okay. What is your guys' most memorable match in wrestling today?
The hour-long match we had with Real Smooth. It was
Erie,
PWR.
The main event wasn't there.
John McChesney. The main event wasn't there. He was running late because it was winter time. We got stuck with a 56-minute match versus Real Smooth.
Funny thing about it is, I thought they were bullshitting.
Oh yeah, we're going an hour.
No, we're not, dude. We're not. We're not going an hour.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
All of us were so gassed at one point that I had put one of them in the arm bar, and then
like the arm bar, what's
his name?
Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah.
So I had his arm like that, and then suddenly somebody grabbed my arm and put me in an arm bar, and then
I put them in the arm bar, and then
all four of us were in an arm bar together, in
About 10
an
minutes.
arm bar train. None of us stepping out. It's delicious.
So, being twins, does that affect your guys' wrestling career?
yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Negatively or positively?
You don't have
Both.
Where's My Droid on your phone.
You know, positively, I mean, there's not many twins that are professional wrestling that would be my brother. Height-wise, weight-wise, and talent-wise. Effectively, it does affect us negatively because there isn't anybody our size that look like us and wrestle our capability.
And right now, wrestling is going to the Daniel Bryan size wrestler. Look at you feed on WWE and TNA and all the other big promotion wrestlers. They're going to a smaller type person.
Yeah.
That's the you see maybe a Brodus Clay, maybe a Kane, maybe someone who was 6'10". You know, occasionally there's no storyline for them. It's always these you always see like littler or smaller guys, more normal sized people on the roster now. These could be on the roster. Who would we face? Everyone. Who would we beat? Everyone, because we're bigger than they are. Technically. You know? I mean, Colognes, really? They're like 5'6". I mean, I love the Colognes, I'm a fan, but they're 5'6".
Just because it's the Bonecrushers, and I know I can get this in, I want to get one extra question with you guys. Rumor through all the locker rooms has it that there's an infection coming, and that the infection is going to change the face of professional wrestling. Do you care to comment on this?
I heard the same thing.
I'm taking antibiotics because of the infection.
I heard the same thing. I heard it's coming. It's imminent. Better get your
Vicious infection.
cortisone shots ready.
Well, thank you guys. This has been 3 Questions with the Bonecrushers.
Back to another topic. What a phenomenal interview with the boys, by the way.
Absolutely.
Is it better to have multiple title reigns or one lengthy one?
That is a great question. And that's something that has been popping up in the WWE lately.
Yes,
with
sir.
CM Punk's lengthy title run that he's had. I think it's been over 9 months now.
Yes, it has.
You
It's
know?
almost been a year.
You know, it's getting close. And I mean, there's good sides, there's bad sides, obviously with both.
Well, how about you take the good sides? How about you argue the length of a run, and I'll argue the multipleness to a run.
Okay, let's see what you got.
Well, look at people like Ric Flair. One time, a 16-time World Heavyweight Champion. They never talk about the length of his runs.
That is true. That is true. But see, when it comes down to length versus multiple, I have to kind of side with the length, mainly because if you can hold on to that title, I feel like that is the most impressive thing. I mean, if you look at somebody like Triple H, yes, he's a great competitor, and he's had some lengthy runs. But when you're building up title reigns, and you get 2 in one pay-per-view, that's not very impressive to me. You know, okay, so you've had, you gained 2 title runs in one pay-per-view, but what does that say? It doesn't say much of anything. That means that you also lost it.
But in all fairness, though, you look at the other side of this coin, you flip that into the length of a title run. Yes, the longest title run ever was 2 years, held by Bruno Sammartino, I do believe.
7 years.
7 years. He didn't defend his title a lot in those 7 years either.
That's true. That is
so
true.
Both sides of the coin can be argued.
Though wrestling has changed a lot since the days of Bruno Sammartino.
That's very true. And we'd love to hear your opinions. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. Let us know your opinions to some of these discussions as well.
Absolutely. Subscribe to our channel and comment on anything that you'd like about this show.
Let us know what you'd like to see from Off the Ropes with John and Josh. Which, differences vary. And differences segue us into our next topic. Tell me, what are some of the differences between indie wrestling and professional wrestling?
Well, I mean, besides the quality, and actually, as far as quality goes, sometimes indie wrestling is better, and sometimes it's not. There's less storytelling as far as a segment where a person goes out there and talks for 30 minutes, which you see a lot in current WWE and TNA.
That's very true.
With independent wrestling, you get more down and dirty. You get more quality matches and things like that.
More quality matches! Phenomenal. Tell me, what's one of your greatest matches you've seen on the indie scene so far?
One of the greatest matches I've seen on the indie scene, I gotta say, the multiple times that I've seen Brandon Thurston go up against James Santel, those two guys, they work like no one else. I'm just
That's
saying.
very true. Brandon Thurston is being compared today to being the next Dean Malenko. And James Santel has a talent that I haven't seen in a long time. The man can technically wrestle. The man can fly. The man's got a lot of strength and power that you don't see in a lot of wrestlers these days. But I think one of the greatest matches I've ever seen was 2 years ago at MFW when they did the first ever ladder match for the the Northeastern title.
North American
Thank you.
Championship.
Thank
yes.
you. It was a ladder match. It was phenomenal, and it came down to James Santel winning that night. And I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the most phenomenal matches I have ever seen.
Yes, if you ever get a chance to check out that match, I highly recommend it.
It is on the Maximum Force Wrestling website. I do know that. It is a phenomenal match, and I tell you this, you will not regret looking that match up. Now let's talk about some of the independent wrestling promotions around this area, shall we?
All right.
In Erie, we have Pro Wrestling Rampage. You can find them at rampagewrestling.com.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal. Their heavyweight champion currently is Big Time Bill Collier. We are hoping to get a 3-question segment with Bill sometime soon. He's phenomenal. He's a big athlete in this area. He's a 2-promotion heavyweight champion. Had to think of how to word that properly.
Absolutely.
You have NWA Upstate, which is a very great promotion. NWA affiliated.
You have OSPW.
OSPW.
And ESW.
ESW, Empire State Wrestling, and Old School Pro Wrestling is OSPW. You have Buffalo Championship Wrestling every once in a blue moon. And up in Syracuse, you have the greatest indie fed, in my opinion, 2CW, Squared Circle Wrestling. Which brings me to my next topic. What kind of talent do you see going from the indie scene to the big times? And when big time comes to mind, it's not Collier. I'm talking about Luke Harper, better known to the indie scene as Big Rig Brody Lee. Congratulations on your FCW contract, and we look forward to seeing you soon on the big screen.
Absolutely.
Now, I see Big Time being one of the few guys that WWE might call up. He's got a great package, he's got a great look, and he's got a great personality. The man's in-ring skill, whether it be selling 3-handed Cardozas or doing Mexican arm drags for a 5'2" guy. But he's got talent, and that's all that matters.
It is.
Who else do you see going?
Well, there are a lot of guys, and the thing with indie guys is as far as places like WWE go, they tend to be too small for what the WWE wants.
That's very true.
But I feel like there could be several guys out on the indie scene that could make it big in a place like ROH or TNA.
Okay, like
You
who?
know? Some of the faster guys. Let's see. To come to mind. I don't know if he's still active, but I'd like to see J-Rock get out there and make it bigger for himself. I know he's a little bit older, but you know what? I think he totally has it.
What about Hellcat and Rob Sweet?
I definitely think I could see them working ROH, possibly even doing like a gut check thing on TNA and getting a contract.
The
that way.
Rochester Wrecking Crew, comprised of Hellcat and Rob Sweet. Phenomenal tag team in NWA Upstate, Maximum Force Wrestling, and I think ESW as well. They're a phenomenal tag team who are very uniform and very well comprised of one another. They work well off one another and have great mic skills and potential in wrestling. It's something you don't see in a lot of tag teams these days.
Very true.
Now, someone on the independent scene that I think gets passed over a lot because of size and comparability, notorious Shane Taylor of Pro Wrestling Rampage. Now, the man is big in overseas. I don't quite know where. I haven't really followed his career. I'm sorry, Shane. You're my boy still. But Shane Taylor has a product that isn't seen by many people. He's a big guy, so of course, instantly he gets pushed over because of that. But at the same time, the man's phenomenal on the mic and has had matches with John McChesney that will be heard of for a long time. He just did a casket match with McChesney, and I gotta say, that match, phenomenal. You both did great.
Speaking of John McChesney, you know, CM Punk likes to go around claiming that he is the best in the world.
It's very true.
Well, we here at Off the Ropes like to keep up on some of the indie things. And we found out something rather interesting.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Back in the day, John McChesney beat CM Punk. So here's your question.
The rumor has it, to be the man, you've got to beat the man. Well, if John McChesney beat CM Punk, does that technically not make John McChesney the best in the world? Just because John McChesney's been passed over by WWE multiple times doesn't mean nothing. In my opinion, John McChesney is the man. But then, has CM Punk beat Ric Flair? I don't think so. Shawn Michaels has. Has CM Punk beat Shawn Michaels? Not to my knowledge. So, I think we should see John McChesney versus Shawn Michaels. So we can see John McChesney finally take out Shawn Michaels and just end his goddamn career once and for all. Because Shawn, are you in the business or are you out of the business? You're confusing me. Stop coming back, giving me false hope in a DX reunion. And that reminds me, Triple H, what's up with your hair? It's there, it's gone, it's back, what? I mean, you cut it off, really? For the first time in your, 20-year career, I see you with, hair that's, non-existent? I'm confused. Oh, but I digress. I'm sorry, I'm back.
All right. For our final topic of the night, Santino Marella. Underused? Overused? Is he a joke?
I'd say he's being misused currently. When he first started doing the Cobra, before the whole green sock and all the crap, and he just popped that son of a bitch up and BAM! There it went. It was great. It was phenomenal. I don't know where WWE went with the whole Santino thing. They had a great piece of work. They could have done something great with him, and instead, let's have him fixate over Oksana, who, in my opinion...
He doesn't fixate. His hand. Oh, I'm sorry. The Cobra is fixated on Oksana.
Are you, the WWE Universe, really stupid enough to think that once he puts a fucking sock on his hand, that it takes over? I mean, really, let's make that a discussion for a second. As the WWE Universe, how stupid do they think we are? Yes, I like some of the hokey stuff that they do once in a while. Like these anger management sessions between Kane and D-Bride. they take away from the reality of what's actually going on in the WWE right now, which is let's bury the mid-card talent and let's keep pushing superstars who don't need title reigns anymore. AKA John Cena. Sorry, Cena. You're a great wrestler. You just don't need a goddamn title anymore. Just do your thing. Let people like Dolph Ziggler take the fucking spotlight. But I digress back to what I was saying, in the fact that I'm not stupid enough to think that when he puts a sock on his hand, like Mick Foley did, that it's going to take over. Because Mick's never did. He'd put the sock on, people cheered, bam, there was the mandible claw, and there was a tap out and a win. Mick Foley did it for years, and he made it look good. All you're doing is telling me is that you just want to be someone that comes out the curtain, power walks down to the ring, and then gets laughed at. I mean, goddammit, you dropped your title to a guy who's been in the business for 3 months. 3 months! Now, don't get me wrong. Antonio Cesaro is a phenomenal wrestler, and he has a background as a king of wrestling. He is a phenomenal worker. But Santino, you were an IC champion. Of course, you had help from Bobby Lashley. Or no, sorry, that was the United States Championship.
Yes.
And, I mean, you are a former U.S. champion, or IC champion, somewhere down in there. But you've been in the business now for like 5 years, and you've never once been in the heavyweight title picture. What are you doing wrong?
Yes. All right. Well, that about wraps up this week's episode of Off the Ropes with Johnny and Josh. I am Josh.
And I'm the Long Island wannabe, Johnny.
Yeah. Tune in next time.
Zach, remember me for Broski of the Week.
Tune in next time. We'll have many more topics and possibly some new segments. We'll see.
Maybe a nipple slip?
Maybe. You never know.
This has been Off the Ropes with John and Josh.
Remember to subscribe to our channel, comment on it,
like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter.
You know it.
Take care, spike your hair.
And that is it. We are down for the count.
1, 2, 3.